Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. Today, it is on February 25th, 2024. It's on Sunday and rainy. How are you spending Sunday? Do you have a plan for today? Have you got a day off today? Or are you obliged to go to school or workplace? Do you have a plan for today? Are you going to spend today doing nothing? Are you going to spend today working on your duty or study? How are you going to spend Sunday? Has your event been cancelled due to the rainy day? Or is the event be held today? Will the event be held today? I won't participate in the party because I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I will not take part in the party because I'm tired. I will not join the party because I'm tired. I won't study just because it's on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on Saturday or Sunday. The festival does not be cancelled just because it is raining. The event won't be cancelled just because it is raining. It can be held during the raining too. A person is not reliable just because he or she has excellent grades. A person is not reliable just because he or she has higher grades. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive, because everyone has different sense of taste. Mm. 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 I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. She worked none the harder because she had given birth to a baby. She worked harder. She worked none the harder for having been given birth to a baby. Having given birth to a baby. The employee appealed himself all the more for wanting to enter the company. The student studied all the harder for wanting to pass examination. I studied English none the harder just because I wanted to enter the university. The festival does won't be cancelled just because it is raining. The festival won't be cancelled just because it is raining. I don't study just because it's on Saturday or Sunday. I don't study just because it is on weekends. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive. For everyone has different sense of taste. Everyone has different sense of taste. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive. The layout of the apartment is not always spacious just because it is expensive. Because every land has different value, and if you even pay 50,000 yen a month, maybe you cannot rent a 2 rooms apartment in Tokyo, maybe in the very center of Tokyo. The event is not cancelled just because it is raining. The event is not cancelled just because it is raining. The information is not always true just because it is told by an influencer. The information is not always true just because it is told by an influencer. The information is not always true just because it is told by the influencer. The information is not always true just because it is told by the influencer. The information is not always true just because it is told, transmitted by the influencer. The scenery of the tourist spot is not beautiful just because it looks good on the pictures. The scenery of the tourist spot is not always beautiful just because it is well reputed and looks good on the pictures. We cannot perform well in the society just because we have higher grades at school. Just because we have higher grades at school. We cannot always perform well in the society just because we have higher grades at school. We can perform well in the society after graduating just because we have higher grades at school. We cannot work well after graduating just because we have higher grades at school. We cannot work well in the society after graduating just because we have higher grades at school. We are not always excellent at work in the society after graduating just because we are excellent at academics. We are not always excellent at work in the society after graduating just because we are excellent at study at school. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. We cannot perform well in the society just because we performed well at the study at school. We cannot perform well in the society at workplace just because we were excellent at study at school. People are not reliable just because they have many followers. People are not reliable just because they have many followers. We are not arrested just because we get lower scores on test. We are not arrested just because we get lower scores on test. We are not arrested just because we get low scores on test. We cannot be healthy just because we eat vegetables once a month. We are not be healthy just because we eat vegetables only one day. We cannot be healthy just because we eat vegetables only once a month. We don't play outside just because it is super cold. We don't stop playing just because it is raining. We don't play soccer just because it is raining. We don't play soccer outside just because it is cold. We don't play soccer just because it is too hot. We don't play baseball outside just because it is cold. We don't postpone the event just because it is raining. We don't postpone the meeting just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't study just because it is on weekends. I don't practice just because it is on weekends. I don't work on my duty just because it is on weekends. The festival is not cancelled just because it is snowing. The festival is not postponed nor cancelled just because it is raining. The festival is not cancelled or postponed just because it is raining. The festival is not cancelled or postponed just because it is raining. You won't pass examination just because you have done a lot of effort only one day. You cannot pass the national examination just because you study hard on a daily basis. It's a kind of luck. The lottery cannot be hit just because you pray a lot at the shrines. We cannot make our dreams come true just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot make our dream come true just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot achieve a feat just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot achieve a feat as big as the one enough to be able to get Nobel Prize just because we put a lot of effort in it. Luck also related. Good luck is also related. We cannot earn a lot of followers just because we update our videos or blogs and so on frequently. We cannot earn a lot of followers on a daily basis just because we update our blogs, videos, and so on frequently. We cannot earn a lot of followers just because we upload a lot of videos. We cannot earn a lot of followers just because we upload many videos or update many blogs. The number of followers does not increase just because we upload a lot of videos or update blogs. The number of followers does not increase so much just because we upload a lot of videos or update blogs. The number of followers cannot be increased just because we upload videos frequently. The number of followers does not increase just because we update a blog frequently. The number of followers does not increase just because we update the content frequently. The number of followers does not increase just because we update the content frequently. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive. Because everyone has different sense of taste. The food I like might be tasted bad by some people. The food tasted good by me might be tasted bad by some people. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive. The service we get is not always satisfactory just because it is expensive. The service we get is not always satisfactory just because it is expensive. We don't play soccer just because it is raining. We don't play soccer just because it is raining. We don't play soccer outside just because it is raining. We don't play soccer just because it is raining. We don't play soccer outside just because it is raining. We don't play soccer just because it is raining. I cannot be awake just because I drink a cup of coffee sometimes. My drowsiness cannot be released just because I drink a cup of coffee all of the time. My drowsiness in the morning cannot be released all the time just because I drink a cup of coffee. My drowsiness cannot be released all the time, always, just because I drink a cup of coffee. The lottery cannot be hit just because I pray at the shrine. We cannot pass examination just because we study only 30 minutes once a month. We cannot pass the national examination just because we put effort in it only 30 minutes a day. We cannot pass examination just because we put the effort in it once a day, once a month. We cannot get the Nobel Prize just because we put a lot of effort in it. A good luck is also related. We cannot get the Nobel Prize just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot get the Nobel Prize just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot get Nobel Prize just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot get the Nobel Prize just because we have devoted much of our time to the effort, work, duty, and so on. We cannot get Nobel Prize just because we put a lot of effort in it. We cannot get Nobel Prize just because we devote much of our time to the work, duty, and so on. The layout of the apartment is not always spacious just because it is expensive, because every land has different value. Every land has different value. For example, if you pay 50,000 yen in the very center of Tokyo, maybe one room apartment is is the most spacious one. Maybe you cannot rent a room with two rooms for 50,000 yen. Maybe. But if you go to a countryside, maybe you can rent an apartment with two rooms. It depends on where you live. So, in that meaning, the layout of the apartment is not always spacious just because it is expensive. The taste of the food is not always tasty just because it is expensive. The taste of the food is not always good just because it is expensive. The content of the video game is not always good, fun, interesting just because it is repeated well, because everyone has different perspectives, point of view, viewpoint. The tourist spot is not always breathtaking just because it is replicated well and looks good on the pictures. It won't be until we see the spot in person that we realize the truth. It won't be until we visit the place in person that we realize the truth. It won't be until we visit the place in person that we realize the truth. Yeah. The festival is not cancelled just because it is raining. The event is not cancelled nor postponed just because it is raining. The information is not always true just because it is told by the influencer. The information is not always true just because it is told by the influencer. The quality of the product is not always good just because it is advertised by the influencer. The service of something is not always excellent just because it is reputed well. We are not perfect just because we have done a lot of effort. We cannot be perfect just because we worked so much in something. We cannot be perfect just because we've worked hard. We are not perfect. That's why we are human, right? We cannot be full in a week just because we have eaten something now. We won't be hungry in a week just because we have eaten something now. We won't be hungry in a week just because we have eaten a lot and food now. We cannot live without food just because we have eaten a lot and are not full now. We can't live without food just because we have eaten a lot and are full now. We cannot perform well in the society just because we are excellent at study at school. We cannot perform well in the society just because we are excellent at study at school. We are not always excellent at work after graduating just because we have higher grades at school. We are not always excellent at work after graduating just because we are excellent at study at school. We are not always excellent at work just because we are excellent at school. Excellent at study at school. We are not always excellent at work just because we are excellent at study, at school. We are not always excellent at work after graduating just because we perform well at school. We are not always perform well at school, at workplace, just because we get higher scores on test. We are not always excellent at workplace, just because we get higher scores on test. We are not always excellent at work after graduating just because we get higher scores on test. The product is not always durable just because it is expensive. The service we get is not always satisfactory just because it is expensive. The taste of the food is not always yummy, tasty, delicious, bon, just because it is expensive. The taste of the food is not always tasty just because it is expensive. The service we get is not always satisfactory just because it is exclusive, fancy, expensive. People are not reliable just because they have a lot of followers. People are not always reliable just because they have higher grades. Urban city is not always comfortable to live just because there are many shops, entertainments around. It depends on your taste, sense, preference, and so on. Urban cities are not always comfortable to live in just because there are many public transportations, entertainments, and shops. Because everyone has different perspectives. Some people prefer to live in the countryside, while others prefer to live in an urban city. Since it is raining, maybe we are better off playing badminton inside. Since it is raining, why don't we play badminton inside? Since it is raining outside, why don't we play ping pong inside? There are free rentals in the hotel. Okay, sounds good. Let's go. What has become of your friend? I don't know because I haven't get in contact with him for a while. I haven't got in touch with him since we graduated. I haven't got in touch with him since we graduated. I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from him. Whenever I call to the office, the line is always busy. The line is always busy. Whenever I call the office, the line is always busy. Whenever I call the airline, the line is always busy. The phone 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 is busy. The phone is busy. The phone is busy. Every time I call the ticket office, the line is busy. The phone is always busy. The phone is always busy. 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 Each time I call the ticket office, the line is always busy. Busy. The line is always busy. 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 Hmm. Now that we can get in touch with people through internet, it's very convenient, isn't it? Now that we can get in touch with people through the internet, it's very convenient, isn't it? The moment you send a message, it reaches the opponent. The instant you send a message, it reaches your opponent, friends, cousin, relatives, a client, acquaintance. The minute you send the message, it will be reached in no time. Whenever I call the ticket office, it is always busy. The phone is always busy. The phone is always busy. The phone is always busy. Each time I call the ticket office, the line is always busy. The phone is always busy. Each time I call the ticket office, the line is always busy. 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 Every time you call the office, ticket office, every time you call the ticket office, the line is always busy. The phone is always busy. The phone is always busy. Busy, 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 busy. The phone is always busy. The phone is always busy. The phone is always busy. I gave up applying for the university since my score was super low. I gave into the temptation and I entered the shop. I yield to the temptation and enter the shop. I surrendered to the temptation and entered the shop, wasting 2 hours browsing through the shop. I didn't buy anything at the shop since the attitude of the staff was terrible, as repeated in the review. I didn't buy anything at the shop since the attitude of the staff was very rude, as repeated in the review. I couldn't play that piece I used to be able to play since I have 10-year blank, you know. I have 10-year blank. I gave up going on a foreign trip since Japanese yen has dropped hugely, steeply. Since Japanese yen has dropped seriously, alarmingly, I cannot afford having a foreign trip. I cannot afford to have a foreign trip. Since Japanese yen has dropped so much, I cannot afford to have a foreign trip. I cannot afford having a foreign trip. I will skip the next class as I don't feel good. I will skip the next class as I don't feel good. I will skip the next class as I was sick in bed for the past a week, and I don't feel good now. As is often the case with him, he was late for the school again. As is often the case with him, he ordered chocolate parfait after eating the meal. As is often the case with him, she rushed to the refrigerator as soon as she arrived home. As is often the case with him, she rushed to the refrigerator as soon as she arrived home. The minute she arrived home. The instant she arrived home. The moment she arrived home. I finished removing weeds around my garden as next Sunday was forecasted as rainy. Next Sunday was forecasted rainy, so I finished today. I finished removing weeds around my house as next Sunday was forecasted as rainy. I finished removing weeds in my garden and cleaning my garden as rainy is forecasted on the next Sunday. Now that we can get in touch with people through the internet, it's very convenient, isn't it? Now that we can get in touch with people globally, which made us easier to work internationally. Now we can communicate with people internationally, globally, in the world, which made us very easier to work internationally. Now I was set free from the hospital. I can stay in my room now. Now I have been released from the hospital. I can stay in my room, spending my time playing video games and so on. Now I have been set free from the hospital. I can spend my time with family and my pet dog. Above all. Now, cassette tape has not been dealt in many appliance stores. It's very difficult to buy such old gadget. Now many appliance stores do not deal in cassette tape. It's very difficult to find such products out there. Now that many appliance stores do not deal in cassette players and tapes, it can be difficult to buy such products. Now that the rain has stopped, we should go home. Now that many people have a smartphone, more and more wrongdoings are being disclosed through the internet. Now that many people have a smartphone or other devices similar to a smartphone, more and more wrongdoings started to be disclosed. Now that many of us have a smartphone and other similar devices, more and more wrongdoings are starting to be disclosed through the internet, which is making it more difficult to hide wrongdoings inside. Now that I've started the business, I cannot go back. Now that I have started the course, I cannot go back. I cannot look back. Now that I have already started the course, I can look back. Now I have started the business, I can look back. Now I have started the piece, I can't look back. I cannot stop. Now I have accepted the offer, I cannot reject anymore. Now I have already signed a contract with the company. I cannot cancel it. Now the overdue is past. I cannot get the money back when I cancel it. Now, if the day before, one day before my stay at the accommodation, I cannot get the money back if I cancel it now, according to the policy. Now it's already one day before the accommodation, the stay at the accommodation. I cannot get the money back if I cancel it, according to the policy. I can get it back by up to 3 days before the stay. Now, many information is available on the internet. The real information, which can be known by visiting the spot, is very more important and valuable. Now, much information is available through the internet. The information which can be obtained by visiting the spot in person is valuable. Now, much information is available on the internet. The information which can be obtained by visiting the spot only is more valuable. Now, many jobs are rumored to be replaced by AI. I'm worried. Now, there's information that more and more jobs will be replaced by AI. I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm concerned. Now, Wi-Fi is spread everywhere. Our life has gotten very convenient to have. Now there are many Wi-Fi environments out there. We can use Wi-Fi conveniently even outside. Now the souvenir section, located on the first floor of the building, is closed. I have to find another place for our guest. Now the souvenir section, located on the first floor of the building, has been closed. I have to find another spot for my customers, clients, guests. Now there are much information to choose, which makes me confused. Confused. Now there are much information available. I often find it difficult to which to choose. Now there are much information out there. I often have difficulty in choosing which to choose. I often have difficulty in choosing which one. I often have difficulty in choosing which one. I often have trouble in choosing which one. Now there are much information available out there. I often have difficulty in choosing which one. I often have trouble in choosing which one. Now there are much information available out there. I often have difficulty in choosing which one. Now there are much information out there. I often have trouble in choosing which one. Now the internet is prevalent everywhere on Earth. We can get much more information about the globe, what's happening in the world. Now the internet has prevalent in the world. Getting information globally has gotten easier. Now the internet has prevalent. We can have access to the news, international news, more easily. Now the internet has prevalent. We can have access to the international news more easily. I think that the next Sunday is forecasted as rainy. Maybe the event might be postponed till the next Sunday. Next Sunday. Think that Japanese yen has dropped so much. I cannot afford to have a foreign trip. I cannot afford to have a foreign trip. I cannot afford having a foreign trip. I think that I don't feel comfortable in a group. I prefer to stay at home alone, on my own. I think that I don't want to wait a long time just to eat lunch in front of the shop, in front of the restaurant. I will just buy sandwiches at convenience store and eat it at office. Think that I don't wanna waste my time waiting in the line for longer than 30 minutes just to eat lunch. I will just buy some food at the convenience store and bring them to the workplace and take a nap for a while after eating. I think that it takes about 4 hours from our place to the destination, and there might be traffic congestions along the way, so We should regard the time as 5 hours. So let's leave our place at 5 o'clock a.m. Think that it takes 4 hours from our place to the destination. Let's leave much earlier. Think that it takes about 4 hours by car to the destination from here. Why don't we take a plane? Think that it is forecasted as rainy tomorrow. I will study at home. Think that it is forecasted as rainy tomorrow. I will play badminton inside the gym. Think that the flight ticket is very expensive on the day. Let's change the date to save money. I think that the flight tickets on the day is very expensive. Let's change the date. I think that the flight ticket in end of March and early April seems too expensive, so let's change the date. Think that, think that, think that, think that, think that, think that. See to it that you close the door when you leave the office last. See to it that you fasten your seatbelt when you drive. See to it that you fasten your seatbelt before you start your car, okay? See to it that you take the medicine as you were instructed by your doctor, okay? Think that, 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 think that. Think that I'm very weak to alcoholic beverages. I ordered oolong tea instead of ordering alcoholic beverages. I think that I'm very weak to alcohol. I ordered fruit mixed juice instead. I sent a box of stick coffee set to my friend in return for in return for what I got. I sent a box of coffee powder to my friend in return for what I got. I sent a box of coffee set to my friend in return for what I got, what I had got. Think that we had 2 hours, 2 3 hours before the departure of the flight. We enjoyed eating some food at the lounge, which made us full, and we couldn't at all at the in the plane, although it was served. Think that we had fully 2 hours before the departure of the plane in the airport. We went to the lounge and ate some food, which made us full and which made us that we couldn't eat anything in the plane although the meal was served. Think that I had 10-year blank from playing the musical instrument. I couldn't play it at all. Think that I had 10-year blank of playing the musical instrument. I couldn't play even the easy piece. Sing that, sing that, sing that, sing that, sing that, sing that. Think that I don't wanna get into traffic jam. I left my house 2 hours earlier. Think that I didn't want to spend higher price for accommodation on weekends. I made a resolution to have a day trip. Think that I didn't want to pay higher price for the accommodation on weekends. I plan to have a day trip to the destination. Think that I didn't want to pay extra and higher price for accommodation on weekends. I decided to have a day trip to the destination. Hmm. I think that I am very bad at getting up early. I reserved an accommodation the day before the event. I think that I am very bad at getting up early in the morning, so I booked a hotel the day before the event and stayed there. I think that I am very bad at getting up early in the morning. I booked an accommodation near the venue the day before and stayed there. I think that I am very bad at getting up early in the morning. I booked a hotel near the venue and stayed there the day before so that I could visit the event without getting up early. I think that my eyesight is getting bad. I have to wear either contact lenses or glasses when I drive. Think that I have a bad eyesight. I have to wear either contact lenses or glasses. Think that there are no other available ways to the destination. We were obliged to walk to the destination. I think that there are no other approaches to the destination. We were forced to walk to the destination. I think that there are no other option except for walking to the destination. We walked there. I think that there are no other options to choose. We were obliged to walk there. Think that there are no other selection. We were compelled to walk there. We were compelled to walk to the destination. We were compelled to walk to this destination. We were compelled to walk to the destination. We were compelled to walk to the destination. We were compelled to walk to the destination. The books bought by my father about 30 years ago is as good as new. As good as new. All but new. All but new. No better than new. No better than new. I think that I'm easy to develop motion sick. I rejected taking the bus because as it takes about 6 hours to the destination by bus. I think that my motion sick is very terrible on bus. I chose to take the trains to the destination. Concerning the weather on next Sunday, the event might be cancelled. Given the weather on the next Sunday, the event might be cancelled. Provided you were a bird, what would you do? Providing you were a bird, what would you do? Provided you hit the lottery, what will you use the money for? Providing that you hit the lottery, what will you use the money for? What did you say such a thing for? What did you say such a thing for? What did the professor learn German for? What are you learning English for? Why did you drop out of high school for? I think that there are many ingredients that I couldn't eat in the menu. I changed the menu. I had the menu changed with a different one. Think that there are many ingredients that I cannot eat in the menu. I had it exchanged with with a different one. Think that there are many ingredients that I cannot eat in the menu. I had it changed with a different one. Think that there are many ingredients that I cannot eat in the menu. I got it changed with a different one, which I could eat. Think that the class held by the professor is regarded as useless. Many students were working on other subjects on the desk. Think that the classes held by the professor are regarded as useless. Many students were working on other subjects on the desk. Think that the classes held by the professor are regarded as useless. Many students were working on each subject on the desk, on each desk. I think that flight tickets are expensive. I chose to take the bus to the destination. Think that I don't have money. I took the bus to the destination. Think that the flight tickets are expensive. That I chose the bus to go to the destination. And think that renting an apartment in the very center of Tokyo is very expensive. We chose to live in the suburb of Tokyo, where we could rent a spacious apartment for more reasonable prices. Think that renting an apartment in the 23 wards of Tokyo was expensive, so we chose to live in the suburb of Tokyo with a view to renting more spacious and reasonable apartment. I think that the flight ticket on the day is very expensive. Let's change the date, shall we? I think that the flight ticket on the day is very expensive. Let's change the date, shall we? I think that the sunlight is very bright. Could you close the blinder? I think that the sunlight is very bright. Could you turn down the blinder? Could you close the blinder? Could you close the blinder? Could you turn down the blinder? Could you lend me the book once you have finished reading it? Okay, I'm still on halfway through it. I'm still halfway through it. Halfway through it. I think that I just stopped by the country A at transit. I officially didn't visit the country. Think that I just stopped by the country A as transit. I didn't officially visit the country. I think that I just dropped in at the country A as transit. on my way to country B. I just spent my time there for 2 hours. Think that I have visited Tokyo many times and I don't find the place attractive. I went to other places for my vacation. Think that I didn't feel like going anywhere on my holidays. I just stayed at home. Think that I didn't feel like going anywhere on my holidays. I just stayed at home. Think that I didn't feel like going anywhere during the holidays. I just stayed at home and studied. I think that paying the insurance every year is very expensive and was putting burden on my living cost. I canceled it at all. Think that paying the insurance. I think that paying the insurance was is very expensive and was putting burden on my living cost. So I canceled it altogether. Her shopping amounted to 1 million yen altogether. Think that, think that, think that, think that. Think that, think that, think that. Think that he is very angry today. We had better not make a mistake or make a fuss in the office. Think that there are many people lining up in front of the restaurant for lunch. I don't want to eat there. Think that I don't like congestion. I don't wait for longer than 30 minutes just to eat lunch at the restaurant. Think that I don't want to wait for a long time. I just buy food at the convenience store and bring them to the workplace and enjoy the peaceful atmosphere and environment at the office. I think that I don't like congestion or hustle and bustle, so I will buy some sandwiches and drinks at the convenience store and bring them to the workplace and enjoy the peaceful environment here. Think that I don't like congestion and hustle and bustle, carrying the time limit all the time during the lunch. I just brought box lunch here. Think that it has been raining since last week. I haven't dried my laundry yet. Hopefully I can dry my laundry tomorrow at the veranda. Think that my playing at the musical instrument is very terrible. I cannot perform in public. I'm not confident that I can perform well in public. I am really envious of those who can play well in public. I think that the snow kept falling since last night. It stacked up on the road so high this morning. Seeing that the snow kept falling since last night, it stacked up on the road so high. Since I think that exercising is very important to keep us healthy, I force myself to work out every day. Think that moderate exercise is imperative, indispensable for our health. I force myself to work out every day. Think that exercise is very important to keep our health. I make it a rule to exercise for 30 minutes every day on a daily basis. Think that moderate exercise is imperative to keep our health. I compel myself to work out every day. Think that exercising is very important. I oblige myself to work out every day. Think that we forget everything without reviewing. I make it a rule review everything which I have learned regularly. Think that we forget what we have memorized with time. I review what I have learned regularly. Think that I forget everything which I have learned with time. I regularly review them. Think that I easily get motion sick. I always keep taking a bus. I study hard so that I won't make a mistake. I prepare carefully. I prepare for anything half as carefully again as others, so that I won't make a mistake, so that I can be average. I usually prepare for anything too much, so that I won't make a mistake. I usually prepare for anything, taking half as much again as others, so that I can be average or more. Even if I do my effort half as much again as others, only to be average. Even if I do my effort twice or three times as much, I can just be normal or average. Even if I do my best, I can just be average. Even if I do my best twice or three times as much as others, I can just be average. I usually prepare for something half as carefully again as others. Half as carefully again as others. Half as carefully as again. Half as carefully again as others. Half as carefully again as others, so that I won't make a mistake, so that I can be average. I left my house 30 minutes earlier, so that I could reach the destination earlier. I stayed at an accommodation so that I could participate in the event without getting up early on the day. I stayed in an accommodation near the venue in order that I could participate in the event without getting up early on the day. I booked an accommodation and stayed there near the venue in order that I do not have to get up early on the day. I booked a hotel and stayed there the day before the event in order that I didn't have to get up early on the day. I usually prepare for anything half as carefully as others, lest I should make a mistake, for fear that I should make a mistake. I usually leave my house much earlier, lest I should be late for the destination, for fear that I should be late for the destination. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you!